I now 32. I'm a regular guy, married a cat, name, changed female, 30 for the last 2 years. We dated for 2 years before getting married. These are not good between us lately. It all started 2 months ago when my wife came up to me and suggested that we open up the marriage to spice up our life. I was shocked at her recommendation. I never imagined that she would ask for this. Guys, I'm not being an entitled or controlling husband, but after knowing Kat for so many years, it is hard to believe that she wants to try this out. Let's admit that open marriage is a risky game, and more often than not, it ends up hurting at least one of the partners and in most cases, both of them. I made it very clear to her that open marriage is complete. No, for me, it's not that I don't want to explore things or spice up her married life, but I want those to be within the realm of a close marriage with no third human being involved in it. She was disappointed because it's a rare occasion that I deny her something. I love her dearly and more often than not obliged to all her demands. Even if you come to compromise for me. Although she didn't say anything after that conversation, but I could sense that she was not taking it well. I wanted to get into the roots of the situation. I wanted to understand her thought process behind this suggestion. I started questioning my ability in bed. I wanted to talk her out, but she kept herself shut. Kat is a consultant and has a hectic work schedule. She often has to work in different time zones, which takes her work-life balance for a task. I do have a busy work schedule, but I don't have to stretch beyond her time zone, so I'm better off in that way due to a work schedule. I wasn't able to discuss my concerns with her. I blamed myself for snapping at her with an impulsive no. I should have asked for more context before parsing on my decision. I felt awful. Nearly 2 weeks after the incident, one day, I got home early from work and prepared her favorite meal for dinner. She was delighted at my gesture. We hugged and spent quality time with each other. I used that opportunity to ask her about her proposal for an open marriage. She immediately switched the gear in her frustration mode, accusing me of tricking her into a mind game. I did not trigger in anything. I just want to have a good time with her and understand her point of view on open marriage. That's it. I lost my mind at her accusations and asked her blatantly if I was unable to satisfy her needs. She opened up after that. She told me that she got a bunch of interns in her office or just out of college and or in their early 20s. They party wildly and hook up at any given opportunity. Their interesting tales of adventure have put these ideas about marriage in her head. She admitted to having a FOMO when her young colleagues discussed their cool lives of wild parties and thrilling hookups. I heard her out and I got her point of view. It is natural for any human being to get swayed by shiny objects. I told her that I'm not very comfortable opening up our marriage because I treasure a relationship. Our bond is very special to me. Before I met Kat, I was also one of those freshers who lived life on the edges. I used to do the exact same thing as anyone in their 20s does, but I experienced the emotional turmoil that everyone does. Hollowness. These excitements turn into emptiness after a while. And so when I met Kat, I found solace. After dating her, I never wanted to go back to my previous life. I proposed to her and got married. She was the one I wanted to have a baby and grow old with. I poured out my heart to her and reasoned out my take on open marriage. I also told her that despite this, if she was really that interested in opening up the marriage, then we could think about it again. She denied that instantly. She seemed to understand my concern and nodded all the while during the conversation. I thought that she resonated with my opinion, but I was wrong. She was not. Everything was normal for the next few days, but after a week or so, I again noticed a severe change in her behavior. She was behaving coldly with me when I asked her. She shrugged off, saying that it was some work-related stress in the last few weeks. She's acting terribly. She's throwing all kinds of tantrums on the silliest of things. She's mocking me by calling me an outdated person. I asked her, what does she mean by that? To which she said that I'm an adamant person to cling to my ideology and I don't follow the trend. I wonder what does she mean by following the trend? I have a decent fashion sense. Follow all the latest music and web series. I asked her if she was pissed off at my reluctance to open the marriage. To which she just nodded and said that maybe. What kind of answer was that? I was confused by her mixed reaction. All this while her work schedule got tighter earlier. It was just a few days in the month when she had to put up late at the office. But now she's coming late every other day. And some days I see her coming home at dawn. When I confronted her regarding this, she told me that she was on a promotion path, hence she needed to prove her merit to get that position. She has always been an ambitious woman and adore her for that. To be honest, I'm worried if she is telling me the truth, but I don't want to put any negative thoughts in my mind or jump to any conclusion. Something happened yesterday which triggered me to write the post. I've read hundreds of posts on this community and hence I wanted to pour out my heart and seek any advice from all of you. Hear me out. Yesterday I reached home at 7 p.m., a little earlier than usual. I reached 8 p.m. on most days. I was craving lasagna for a long time, so I decided to prepare that for dinner. It was Kat's favorite too. It took me an hour and a half to prepare the lasagna, just the way Kat likes. I garnished it and kept it ready to surprise Kat. It was already 10 by that time. I messaged Kat to check when she was coming home. She responded that she would be late, maybe after midnight. It felt low when my enthusiasm died down. I spent the next hour engrossing myself with my video games. I was hungry, but I wanted to have dinner with Kat. Something inside me urged me to go and pick up Kat from her office. I had never done this before unless we had to go somewhere after work. I thought it was the best idea to kill the time and give her a warm surprise. I took my car and rushed to her office. Her office was a standalone building, and it was pretty easy to spot anyone entering or leaving the building. I waited outside the office for a good 30 to 45 minutes, watching the shops getting shut and the streets getting deserted. It was 12:30 am. There was no sign of Kat. She was not responding to my text and I didn't want to bother her with my calls. For a moment I thought that she might have left the office while I was on the way. I went upstairs to her office and inquired at the reception. The office was still bustling with the night shift employees. The receptionist told me that Kat had already left the office. I wanted to push myself for an idea of coming down to the office. I was sure that she left the office while I was on the way. I drove back home. And guess what? Kat wasn't at home either. My feet were trembling with fear. She was still offline and did not see my last message. I went into panic mode. Cheating was the last thing that came to my mind. I was concerned about her safety. It was too late to contact any of her work friends. Besides, she had joined the company 6 months ago, so I didn't have contact with the colleagues. I didn't know what to do. Tired and anxious, I dozed off on the couch. I woke up with the first light of the sun and rushed into my room impulsively. I saw her sleeping cozily in the bed. I rushed to her, talked her up and slept. When I woke up in the morning, she was already ready to leave for the office. I asked her when she came home last night. She said 3 a.m. It was a hectic day at work. I was held up on a meeting with an Asian client. I asked her, "When did you leave the office?" She responded nonchalantly, 2:30ish. I was shocked. Her answer gave chills to my bones. It was either the receptionist who gave me the false information that Kat wasn't at the office at 12:30 am, or it was Kat who was lying about being at the office until 2:30 am. I was still feeling dizzy with last night's hassle, hence did not say anything further. She called me today in the afternoon, asking if I was at her office yesterday. The receptionist informed her that I went there at midnight to check for her. I wonder what kind of shift is the receptionist doing at the office. Nevertheless, I told her the truth and the reason for showing up at her office. She was silent for a moment and then said that she left her office in the afternoon for a meeting in her client's office, which is located in a different part of the city. That's the reason she was not found at her own office. I was perplexed by her answer. She rephrased her statement and said that her client is an Asian company, but they have an office set up in the US as well. Yesterday, she went to her client's US office, which is located in the other part of the city where she was in Zoom calls with the other employees based out of the Asian time zone. I'm still confused about what to do. A part of me wants to believe her as this is not a new concept. Companies all over the world have set up their offices in the US, and people work in different time zones. But my situation is completely different. I'm clueless and helpless. I don't know what to do next. Should I wait and let this past show confront my thoughts to Kat again? I have confronted her several times in the past, which I have described in the post above. Any suggestions and advice are appreciated. Thanks much. Hi there. I understand your dilemma. Your wife has left you hanging in the middle of a crisis which is just about to arrive. I sent for the fair, however. You're absolutely right in that conclusion right away. Instead, you're giving ample time to her to mend her way in case she has gotten diverted. I would suggest that you sit down and have a conversation that how her reckless behavior is taking a toll on your mental health. Tells us you want to work out any differences in your relationship. Update. Thank you everyone for all your valuable suggestions. I took some of your advice seriously and investigated this matter. It's been 2 weeks since my last update, but I got some shocking news. Please bear with me if I just ran out here. I tried several ways to get her email or her phone's password, but she kept it to discreet. I picked my brains and come up with several ideas to dig out the truth, but I failed. The last 2 weeks have been pretty much the same. Where Kat continued to come home late from work. We both were unanimously giving cold shoulder to each other with very few occasional and transactional conversations in between. 2 days ago, she was talking to her mom, who was suffering from a kidney problem for the last few years, and a recent blood test did not show a good sign. I was working on my PC while she was lying on the bed and talking to her mom out of concern. I took her phone to check up on her mom while mother-in-law was narrating her tiresome routine of tests and medicine. Something clicked in my head. I picked at the phone screen and found that it was unlocked and there were some chat notifications. I got up and started walking into the room while talking to mother-in-law. I casually went inside the washroom while talking on the phone and locked it from the inside. I put the phone on speaker and pretended to listen to her while reading the messages through the notification. The notification revealed the cat was supposed to meet someone that day for a fun ride. I opened her social media DMs and boy, you guys were right. She was already having an affair. She was sleeping with those novice coworkers. After a couple of minutes, she realized that I took her phone with me inside the washroom.